Hi guys, and welcome to Escape Wheel Watch Reviews. My name is Steve, and today we're going to be reviewing the Bettimer model B8001. We're going to be referring to it as the Laureado because this is obviously a GP Laureado homage or clomage. I received this watch for free. I don't have to send the watch back, but you guys know the deal by now. It's not going to sway my review one way or another. And if by the end of this review you want to pick one of these up, I'm going to be leaving a link down in the video description. As always, that is an affiliate link, so if you guys use it, you're not going to pay any extra, but I will earn a little bit of commission that helps keep the channel running. So if anyone's used those links in the past, I really do appreciate it. I wouldn't be here without you guys. So the retail price for this watch is around $290 I think, and that's before any coupons or discounts or anything like that. We are currently in a sale, and I was able to get the price down to about $215. That's after using an AliExpress coupon, a store price, and then some coins as well. So $215 is a pretty good deal for this watch in my opinion. The watch comes in 4 different colorways that you can see here. I think they all look nice, but I've been getting some feedback about that yellow dial. They're saying it's very orange and not what people really expected. I actually saw someone who actually returned their watch because it was too orange. So just go in knowing that the orange dial, not quite what they're showing on the page. The watch case is made of 316L stainless steel. It has a sapphire crystal with AR coating, screw-down crown, screw-down case back, 100 meters of claimed water resistance, Swiss BGW9 on the dial and the hands. And the watch is powered by the Highbeat PT5000 automatic movement. So Bettimer, I'm calling it Bettimer and not Bettimer. I don't understand why people call it Bettimer or B-timer or anything timer. It's Bettimer. So yeah, I don't know. I don't get it, but people are bashing the name. I actually don't think the name is that bad, Bettimer. I think the logo is actually pretty cool as well, as you can see there at the 12 o'clock position. So this is a new brand. They have some ties to Ixtao. Ixtao is the ones who introduced me to the brand and introduced me to the store and the watch. And so they are a big part in why this watch happened. So the Laureado from Girard Perregaux, I think that's how you say it. Too fancy for me. It's about $10,000, and it comes in 42 and 38 millimeters, so this slots nicely in between. But that watch never really did anything for me. It was never on my radar. So yeah, when they reached out and they asked me if I wanted to look at this, I said, yeah, sure. I wasn't too excited about it, but now that I actually have it on wrist, I've had it on wrist quite a bit. You can see I'm getting some wear on the bracelet even. It's really growing on me. It's becoming one of my favorite integrated watch designs, and that's coming from someone who actually really loved this one as well. So yeah, it's great. And like I said, the fact that they kind of split that size makes this even more impressive to me. So how did they do with their first watch? Bettimer, how did they do with their first watch? I say we dig in and let's find out. But before we do, doing a quick wrist check today, wearing another new brand. This is the Sesame Tic Tac, I'm going to call it. It's not really an alpinist, but yeah, I think it looks excellent. This is the white dial. This one will be coming to the channel very soon. But yeah, another really cool brand putting out some nice looking watches. All right, so let's get into dimensions. A 40 millimeter diameter, 11 millimeters thick. Bracelet is 24 millimeters and tapers down to 18. And we've got an overall lug to lug of 51 millimeters. So I think the size on this thing is actually pretty nice. That 11 millimeters, they actually list it as 10.25 millimeters. The 11 millimeters includes the crystal. I think the 10.25 is without the crystal. In my opinion, it doesn't really take away from the fact that it is a very nice side profile here. You can see it's nice and slim. It does have decent little turn down, little hooks there at the end, which makes it wear a lot nicer. That 51 lug to lug, it's going to turn some people off, but I think it flows with the case design very nicely. So yeah, I like the way that this thing wears. I like it a lot actually. I like it better than the Ixtao, and that's simply because the turn down to the lugs there, as you can see. I mean, it appears to be a thinner mid case, and then the Ixtao is very flat, where this one does have a little turn down. So I just like the way that this thing wears a little bit better. So yeah, I'm gonna go outside her now and throw it on my wrist for you. Hey, here we are on my 7.5 inch wrist, and as you can see, I can pull this off definitely 100%. I think it wears great. It's obviously a little bit big, or wears a little big, just because it's an integrated bracelet, but I think it wears really nice. You can see there the case back just kind of sinks into the wrist, and Yeah, the nice little turn down or a little hook on the end of the lugs there really make this thing wear very nice. I'm really happy with the way that this thing wears, actually. Super comfortable, obviously. I got a good fit on this one. But yeah, really, just really nicely done. You can see even under this oak tree, not really any issues with the reflections. So very happy with the way that this thing wears. Yeah, I don't have any direct sunlight today, but there you can see it under a little bit different lighting. Really no issue with legibility or anything like that, so very happy with it. I like all the little polished bits and accents on this thing. I think it just looks great. Sadly, I don't have any straps, but yeah, it's kind of known with this type of watch, so let's go back inside and let's get back to this review. All right, so let's get up close. We'll talk about the case and the case finishing. The case is done very nice. It's a mixture of brushed and polished surfaces. So you can see the bezel on this. It's an octagonal bezel with a kind of circular backdrop to it, I guess. The sides of the bezel are polished, and that circular surface is also polished. I think it looks really good. You have a circular brushing on the top of the octagonal surface there, and then you have a horizontal brushing across the case, which is a really interesting look, but I actually like it. I think they did a really good job with it. You can see the brushing is nice and consistent all the way through, and it matches just perfectly with the bracelet. Really happy with that. And then you do have these polished chamfers on the corners here. Again, they look really nice and crisp and sharp. I can't tell how good that polishing is because it's such a small surface, but you can see there the transitions are just really sharp, really crisp, really like that. You get a horizontal brushing on the case sides there. Everything looks excellent. And then you do also have another polished chamfer on the bottom of the case. You're just kind of softening the bottom edge. There's not really any sharp corners or sharp edges on this thing. This is one of those watches where when you slip it on the wrist, it just feels like butter. Like this leading edge here when you're slipping it on your wrist, nice and soft. That bottom edge of the case back is rounded there, so it just kind of glides on your wrist, and it feels really, really good. I'm very happy with it. You can see here, you do have a Bettimer signed crown here. It's a screw down crown, nice size in my opinion. Yeah, it's a really good one. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. But yeah, the case back itself, as you can see there, simple screwed in case back. Sorry, I said it was screw down case back. It's a screwed in case back with 6 screws there, that aiding in the 100 meters water resistance. It's got a little bit of a spec sheet around the outside, circular brushing there, and then polished on that rounded edge there. It's all done really, really nice. Very happy with how soft this case is and how comfortable this case is. I am really impressed with the case and the case finishing on this thing. They did an excellent job, guys. All right, so let's talk about the crystal. First things first, test it for sapphire. It is positive for sapphire. So it is a nice sapphire crystal. It is a single dome. It's a very subtle dome. Hopefully, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it is a subtle domed crystal. You can see the distortion there, which is a trait of a single dome crystal. You guys know, if you guys have watched the channel, you guys know that this is my least favorite type of crystal, the single dome crystals. They give lots of reflections, but they do some pretty cool light tricks on the dial itself. It doesn't really show up too well on camera in the studio here, but in real life, it does play with the light in the dial and off the indices really nicely. So like I said, I'm not usually a fan of single dome crystals. They have to be really good for me to enjoy them, and this one is really good. It's got plenty of AR coating. It's a very subtle dome too, which I think helps a lot. So yeah, this is actually a really good crystal. It does have some blue anti-reflective coating, which obviously on the blue dial looks great. On the other colors might be a little bit of an issue, but yeah, for me, I actually do like this single dome sapphire crystal. All right, so let's get real close and we'll talk about the dial on this thing. The dial, it is beautiful. Again, they did a very nice job here. You got the Bettimer logo there at the 12 o'clock, which I'm not a huge fan of. I kind of wish they would just leave that off and put a double baton up there. You lose some lume at that point and at this point, so it kind of looks weird, which you'll see here in the lume shot. But yeah, it does look like a pretty nice logo in my opinion. And then you have the Bettimer branding there and automatic, just kind of on some rectangles on the dial, which again, not a huge fan of. I think they could do that a little bit nicer, more clean. But as far as the dial itself, it's a beautiful waffle pattern. I think the color that they chose is excellent. You have applied indices at all the hour markers there. They all look really, really good. They're applied nice and straight. I don't see anything out of alignment there. You have a black date window here. The renders that they show on the page show a color match date wheel for all the colors. I'm pretty sure everything uses a black date window and not a color match date window. So something to note. I'm fine with it. Obviously I would prefer a color matched one, but a black is much better than a white one on a darker dial like this. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the date window on it. It's all centered nicely. So you have this outer section here with the minute track here. It doesn't have the waffle pattern on it. It's kind of a sunbursty look to it. You don't really notice it in person, but yeah, it's there. It just separates the dial out a little bit nicer. The handset that they used on it, nice big faceted handset, nicely polished. There's no fluff under the dial or anything like that that I could see. Everything is done and finished to a high standard. I've got no issues with the dial and the dial layout, other than I do wish they would ditch that Bettimer logo there and you know, put a double baton. I think that would look a little bit nicer and would offer some direction, I guess, during nighttime hours. So yeah, just something that they might think about doing in the future. But the lume on this watch is excellent. The daytime lume color is pure white on the dial and on the hand, so I don't see any mismatch there like I do on some other brands. So yeah, I'm really happy with the lume on this thing. I'm going to pop up a lume shot here. You can see it against the Ixtao on the left. You can see it against the Willard on the right. And it holds its own. It's BGW9. It's strong. It's even application. It lasts all night long. I was able to pick this thing up in the middle of the night and read it no problem. The indices are nice and big and bold. So yeah, it really does do its job and last all night long. So yeah, I'm really happy with the lume on this. All right, so let's talk about the movement in the crown. So the movement is the PT 5000. It's 28,800 beats per hour, so 8 ticks of the second hand every second. It hacks, hand winds, bidirectional winding rotor. It's an ETA clone. So yeah, it kind of has the same nuances as the ETA movement. So you don't want to wind it with the crown as much as possible. They're pretty fragile, so just something to note. Every ETA clone movement, even the Solitas, they have the same problem. So just something to note. You know, when I grab these watches, I usually just shake them and then set the time, and then it winds up on its own throughout the day, and everything has been peachy. No issues with it at all. So these watches, they're great. This is how mine has been running, -5 seconds a day. I can't really complain about that. So it does seem that they are regulating these movements. This one is operated by the 3 o'clock screw down crown there. Again, nicely signed with that Bettimer logo there. Screw in and screw out action is really nice. I will say I have this issue. I don't even know if you can see it or hear it, but I'm fully disengaged from the threads, but it's still kind of sticking to the threads somehow. I'm not really sure. So when I do wind it forward, it jumps out and releases from the threads. I'm not really sure what's going on there. Just something I noticed. It's not a big deal, but yeah, it would be nice if they kind of clean that up. Obviously, first position is the hand winding. Second position changes that date. I'll let you see the alignment on the dates here. All looks pretty good in my opinion. Pulling it out to the third position, that hacks the movement every time. This is where you set your time. Everything functions as it should. No jumping of the hands or anything like that. And then the screw in action on the crown, I just like to mention this. Really buttery smooth. It's one of those kind of spring-loaded crowns where you're not winding the movement while you're screwing it in. So it's just the threads. It's nice and smooth. Really, really happy with that. Good grip on the crown too. So yeah, really happy with it. No issues with the crown, no issues with the movement, other than that little funny thing that it's doing when I'm unscrewing the crown the first time. All right, so let's talk about the bracelet. So the big thing with integrated sports watches like this one with integrated bracelets is that you can't change these things to a strap, or not easily, and I don't think any add-on strap has ever looked good on an integrated bracelet watch, in my opinion. So the bracelets, they have to be good. That's the problem with the lower quality watches. Their bracelets are just not good. But this one, thankfully, is very good. Like I said, it's 24 millimeters about, and it tapers down to 18 millimeters at the clasp. It's brushed, it's polished. It all looks really good. The fluidity of the bracelet, top notch. I mean, it's just nice and smooth. This bottom edge, again, is really, really smooth and comfortable. So when you are sliding it on wrist, it just feels really nice. If you get a sharp bottom edge here, not only is it going to be uncomfortable while it's on wrist, you're going to feel that kind of scrape your skin as it goes over it. So yeah, really, really happy with the bottom edge on this thing. It looks excellent. You have this nice little polished chamfer as well. Hopefully you can, there you go. Polished chamfer on the edge of all these links. It's done really nice, again, nice and smooth. The polishing on the middle links, also really nice and smooth. These are pretty big polished links, and they're just a big smooth surface, so any imperfection is going to show up, and these actually look really, really good. Usually you get some that have a little waviness to them. So there you go. There's a Pagani bracelet. You can see how kind of jagged that edge is, that, you know, that line between the dark and the white there. You can see how kind of jagged it is. That's just an indication of cheap polishing. It's a cheap watch, but you can see here how nice and smooth it is. So the polishing on the bracelet is excellent. Working our way down to the clasp, you do have the Bettimer logo there. It is a butterfly clasp. I don't like butterfly clasps. As far as butterfly clasps go, this one's actually pretty decent. You know, this bottom edge is not super sharp or anything like that. The buttons are nicely rounded off as well, so those don't really dig into the wrist or anything. It opens and closes as it should. It's not one of those ones where you have to open or where you have to close it a certain way. You can do it either way first, which is nice. The tolerances on that clasp are actually pretty decent. There's a little bit of rattle to it, but not too bad. One thing that I was kind of disappointed in is that I didn't see any half links. Thankfully, I reached out to the store and they're already making half links for this watch. So yeah, hopefully in the next couple months maybe we can get some half links for this, and hopefully we'll be able to buy them secondhand too for people that have already purchased this watch. But yeah, adding half links is a must on a watch like this. Thankfully I was able to get a really good fit as is, so I didn't need any half links, and this thing fits me great. But as far as the bracelet goes, it's really good. I think the tolerances aren't quite as nice as the Ixtao. You know, I think the Ixtao bracelet is very nice, very comfortable. This one just feels a little bit higher quality, but for the most part, the bracelet on this watch is excellent for a $200 watch, $215 watch. I have zero complaints with the bracelet on it. It's a really, really good one. All right, there you go, guys. That is the first watch from Bettimer. Really, really happy with it, actually. I was quite surprised when I got this watch and how much I liked it. I liked the finishing on it. I think they have a very high quality finishing. It has a very high quality feel when you're wearing it and when you're putting it on the wrist. It's got an accurate movement, a good crystal killer lume. I think the design is really nice as well. One of my favorite integrated bracelet watches out there, in my opinion. It is one of my favorite designs now. You know, I still really enjoy wearing this one. I'm going to enjoy wearing this one as well. Having these things side by side, you can see they're just two high quality pieces. So yeah, I think if you were on the fence on the Ixtao, this might be worth a second look to you. It's a little bit cheaper than the Ixtao, but it kind of packs some of the same features and the same finishing level, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm really happy with this, guys. I think you guys will be too. If you want to pick this up, I'm going to be leaving a link down in the video description. Thank you guys for using those links. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one. See ya.